There was a time when just saying the name Katy Perry could electrify an entire generation. She was everywhere: clubs, commercials, stadiums, teenage bedrooms. Her music felt like a collective soundtrack, carried by instant hits, catchy hooks, and bold, colorful videos. Teenage Dream, Firework, California Girls, anthems that seemed to transcend borders and seasons without ever losing steam. She had carved out a unique style, a blend of humor, freshness, soft provocation, and expertly controlled pop power. She didn't need scandals to exist. Her energy alone was enough, but that era now feels far away. After years of media silence and gradual retreat, Katy Perry announced her big comeback, a new album, a new chapter. She titled it 143, an old pager code meaning "I love you." Everything about the title hinted at sweetness, sincerity, almost innocence. The message was clear: reconnect with the audience, bet on emotion. But the response was cold. The album fell flat. Critics called it dull, the melodies uninspired, the lyrics hollow. Rather than a true return, 143 came off as a manufactured project, safe, visionless, trying to please, but failing to move anyone. The Single Woman's World, designed as a modern anthem, became a focal point for backlash. Poorly written, perceived as artificial, it felt like a forced attempt to tap into feminist themes that no longer felt authentic to her. Her once vibrant voice was buried under sterile production. The emotion no longer came through, and the disconnect wasn't just musical. Very quickly, comparisons emerged. Another star, also chasing reinvention, had just faced a similar blow. Jennifer Lopez. Her album, This Is Me, now meant to celebrate her rekindled love with Ben Affleck, also failed to convince. Same intent, same emotional strategy, same result. Two major artists, two fragile projects, two comebacks that fell flat. The parallel went viral. Online, the mockery took off. Memes exploded. The public wasn't just rejecting the music. They were rejecting the very idea of these scripted comebacks, these polished narratives of resilience, this illusion of closeness, carefully packaged. And for Katy Perry, it hit hard, because beyond the numbers and the critiques, it was her connection with the audience that started to crack. Once the queen of sold-out world tours, she now struggled to fill venues. On stage, the energy had given way to discomfort. Performances were called awkward, the staging outdated. At times, she seemed absent, almost detached from what she was performing. Long pauses between songs, robotic gestures, vacant stares. Everything suggested an artist replaying her past without believing in it. The audience stopped following. Her early fans had grown up and no longer recognized themselves in this watered-down version of their former idol. And younger listeners, they weren't even looking her way. It wasn't just a matter of taste or even generation. It was a broken bond. Katy Perry wasn't just facing a commercial flop. She was confronting a void, a creative void, an emotional void, a loss of meaning. And just as her music struggled to resonate, her personal life began to unravel too. Her relationship with Orlando Bloom, which had begun in 2016, came to an end. 9 years together, a public engagement, a daughter born from their union, and then silence. The breakup was confirmed, quietly, without drama, without an official statement, but it was real, brutal in its silence. To many, they seemed solid. Different, sure, but balanced. They appeared to love each other far from the noise, away from the usual Hollywood chaos. But if you looked closely, the signs were there. Fewer public appearances, distant looks, rare gestures, and, more tellingly, the songs. The album 143, criticized by many for its emotional emptiness, actually contained shards of truth, lyrics thrown in like confessions. In I'm His, He's Mine, she sings, I'm every woman he's ever known. I'm all the ones haunting his mind. Go find your own man. What could have sounded like ego play now feels, in light of the breakup, like a desperate attempt to hold on to something already slipping away. And then there's Truth, one of the few songs where a clear crack shows, I want the truth even if it hurts. My intuition keeps me up at night. Who do you see when you close your eyes? These aren't polished lyrics. They're not perfect, but they're raw. They speak to anxiety, to doubt, to the kind of silent breakdown that eats away at a couple. For those who truly listened, Katy wasn't just singing, she was leaving breadcrumbs, but no one wanted to follow. Or maybe everyone was too busy judging the surface to notice the substance. Amid all this emotional instability, she made a surprising decision to join a space flight, a private mission organized by Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' company. A capsule launched into space, 11 minutes of weightlessness, an all-female crew, framed as a symbolic, almost activist gesture. On paper, it sounded modern, bold, ambitious. In reality, it detonated. The public didn't see a statement. They saw a hyper-privileged celebrity, out of touch, indulging in a fantasy while the world teetered. The backlash was instant. Critics called it provocative, a billionaire's circus, luxury feminism with no grip on social reality. Katy Perry's image, already fragile, took another hit. Worse, some sources mentioned tension with Orlando Bloom around the project, as if the flight wasn't just a whim, but a sign of a widening gap in their relationship. And that's when everything shifted. Katy Perry, once seen as relatable, genuine, joyfully eccentric, now embodied a system many had grown to resent. Her smile looked forced. Her words no longer landed. Even her attempts to explain, it was unforgettable. I recommend it to everyone. Fell flat, as if nothing could hide the disconnection anymore. The flight only lasted 11 minutes, but the fall? It's been long and visible. And for the first time, one thing feels certain. This isn't just a rough patch. It's a loss of connection, of instinct, of identity.